Hi everyone, it's Lori Pinto from Lollipop Paper and LollipopPaperandInk.com. I wanted to do a quick video today, and this is a little late in coming. I promised this video several weeks ago, so I apologize. I'm in the middle of a move and things are just not happening the way I want to right now. So let me just give you a quick rundown on some of the fabulous coloring tools that we do have here at Stampin' Up! The main focus today is going to be on these wonderful blends markers. They come in, you can buy a full pack of them. Each color, there's 12 separate colors if you buy the whole pack, but you don't have to. You can buy them singularly or you can buy them as a combo pack. So each color has both a light and a dark. And that's the trick to the blending, which just makes everything so much easier. So we also have the Stampin' Right markers, and these are fabulous too. And I'll just show you the difference in how they come out. It's a little difference, but it's your preference. And then we have the watercolor pencils, which are great too. And there's we have a whole stack of those. And by the way, they fit perfectly in this little one of our stamping cases. So as far as the blends go, we have both of them. Like I said, they come in a combo pack, light and dark color, which is the trick and which is the magic. And both of them, and they have on each one a fine point for when you're doing detail work, and they have more of the brush tip here. This is great for me because I just feel like it lets you color with more of a flow. You don't have to concentrate so much. But if you're doing detail work, you definitely want to get something with a use something with this fine tip to get right in there. And make sure you snap them back on real well because they do dry out. When you're storing them, try to store them. It's recommended that they're stored laying flat, not in a cup or a bin that way. So try to keep them flat when you're storing them to preserve the life of it. So let me show you what I did here. I used the same image so you could kind of see the difference, and I'll bring it up a little higher. This one was just pencils, the watercolor pencils dry, and you can see here it's very nice. The blending, I did a little bit of blending on some of the inside lines, which comes out great. It's a little bit more work though, because you do really have to put the effort in and put the time in to get that shading the way it is. This is the pencils also with just a little dab of my aqua painter, and that kind of it kind of blended it a little bit. You have more shading here. So, but I like this effect also. It's a much softer look. But if you're going for the sketchiness of it, then I would definitely say that, put the time in and use your pencils just dry. That would be great. So here I used the same image, and I used just the aqua painter, and I just dipped it in the ink pad. Well, like I made a little pool of it on the top cover and just dipped a little bit in. This I love. Next to the blends, this is probably my favorite. I just kind of like that watercolor wash in the floral images. You can tell that because that's what my whole blog is. My header and my email header, they're all like that. So I do love that. But that's just something separate, but it's an alternative to either dry with the aqua painter or completely dry. Okay, so that's the pencils. Here I use same image again, and you can tell here this is just blends. This is light and dark pool party, I believe, pool party. And I went in, I colored it lightly with the lighter pen, and then I went back in and I just did the edges with the darker pen, and then came back in and kind of smushed it all together to lighten it up, so you don't really want to see those dark lines. But again, here, this is with the Stampin' Write markers. It's lovely. It comes out. Sometimes I do like that white effect that it does have in there. So that was just strictly the Stampin' Write markers, and then do it one time, and then go back in and do around the outline to get some shading. The difference between those two also, I should say, is that with the blends, since the blends are alcohol markers, we need to use the Memento, the Tuxedo Black ink, because this is water-based. When we use the Stampin' Write markers or the pencils, we would use the basic black archival ink, because that's more of a it's more of a permanent kind of set ink. So otherwise it'll just blur and it'll like bleed through a little bit, which you don't really want to have to happen. Also, I use the I like to use the shimmery white cardstock, or I use the thick Whisper White cardstock when I'm using the blends, for sure, because you can see here that it will bleed through, and this is the thick Whisper White. So if you wanted to do it right on your card base, you just put a piece of scrap under there so that it doesn't bleed through for you. But you can see the difference here. There's still blending going on. This is just a little more subtle. And this is, again, a little bit more work than this. The blends just kind of do the work for you, same as with the pencils. So, but they both have a lovely result. So here, I took the bird image from the petal palette, and I did all three on this one piece. So here you can see this is just with the Stampin' Write markers. And you can do it. You can see some blending lines in there. It's a little more obvious, though, than the watercolor pencils. Again, this is a little bit more blurred, which I like better than that. But this definitely took more work, even though it is just a small image. The blends, you can see it just blends beautifully. And it was just zero work involved. It's just a matter of coloring and using the two different shades. And then here I just used a little bit of the Old Olive for the green in there. So that's it. I mean, obviously my favorite is the blends, because it just makes life so much easier, and the result is just beautiful every single time that you do it. You cannot mess up. So let's just do a quick one here, and I'll just show you the actual technique, and you see for yourself. We'll do this one in the blends, and I stamped this in Memento ink, and this one I'll do in the Write markers, and I stamped that in the basic black. So let's try this here. So this is the lighter shade of the two this is the Cherry Cobbler. Yeah, this is the light Cherry Cobbler. And even though this is fine, I'm more comfortable with the brush tip. I just feel like it can flow a little bit more easily. And you don't have to take it all the way to the edge, because it will flow. It will bleed out, and you don't have to worry about that. Okay, simple. So that was the first, the lighter color. Now I'm going to do the darker, and I'm just going to go around kind of trace the black line. And if this was a floral image, I would just go into wherever they have like a black line and or a crease. And so maybe I'll do this here. Okay, so you see a little bit, but I still don't want to see that line, so I want to blend that even further. So I go back to taking my lighter color, and I just kind of do like little circles. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling the darker color into the lighter color. And you can see a little bit, and this is the shimmery white, which is really my favorite to put on there. And I don't have to worry about it. It does bleed through, but I wouldn't use that as like a card base. But you can see the difference there. Okay, so let's try it with the Stampin' Right markers, and let's see, I'll just use, what color is this? This is the Berry Burst. Okay, so this also comes with the fine point and the brush tip. So let me do that. Same premise. This will be a little bit of a rosé, which is my favorite. And same thing, I'm just going to go a little closer to the lines this way with this one, because it doesn't bleed as much. Okay, so that's in. And now, so we don't have a second color, a darker color for this, and I don't want to, this is a little, I'm going to let this dry a little bit. But so what I would do is, to get some shading for here, I would still go back in and redo right where my black lines were. And here, it's just a little bit more noticeable to me. You know, and I could maybe shade one side a little bit more. That's as if the light is coming onto it that way. And there you go. You just see it more. You can just see it. With here, you really cannot see, get as close as I can, you really can't see that blending line. And that's what I like so much about this. Easy peasy. So that's it. Quick, down and dirty. That's what the difference is between the three coloring tools. They all have a little bit of a different effect, but you just go with whatever works for you. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions or comments, please just add them below. I always appreciate them, and I do try to answer them right away. Thanks again for visiting me today. Have a great one. Bye-bye.